Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to Court the Edijester. How are we, everyone? I hope you're okay. Here we go. Kier Starmer. Oh, Starmer the Harmer. Right. This is in the Telegraph, right? Oh, just when you think some headway is being made, they come along and they whip the carpet from underneath you. Wes Streeting, right, who I thought was, he's on his way. I never did think it, actually. But you thought was on his way when it came to caste and women and children and protection and safeguarding and all that and getting rid of the trans nonsense. Went on an unbelievably bizarre rant yesterday about white supremacy. When are all of you, not all of you, some of you, going to get this is all the same thing? When you remember I went on Glinner years ago. Saw Graham, who's down under right now, I think, right? Told you about the postmodern tea. Gender identity ideology, queer theory, critical race theory, critical environmentalism. That's the four. Okay, that's the four. All the same, right? So, and that's the difficulty for the left, I think, right now, is that it is all the same. And you're going to have to give it all up. And there's lots of you that don't want to. Your EDI and your cobblers, right? So we got Kier Starmer now, who put trans extremists ahead of women, and now he wants to pretend it never happened from the marvellous Julie Bindel. When Kier Starmer said last year that 99.9% of women haven't got a penis, they were audible sighs of relief from those who concluded that he was at last distancing himself from the most extreme transgender ideology. Well, only by 0.1%. He still thought women had penises. Right? It was, after all, the slightest of improvements on his earlier comment that the vast majority of women lacked one. Interesting. It's an interesting opening paragraph, Julie. I really think it is, because it just illustrates everything to me. I didn't care. I didn't want him to say, well, only some women have penises. I understand why you took sucker from that. We got to stop doing it, right? Got to stop doing it. They're going to give game away. They're going to give the game away. That's what's going to happen right now. I can see it coming a mile off. There was a conversation with Gina, the brain surgeon, who I went to see at Manchester, if you remember, the brain surgeon, and that ridiculous Jack Turban bloke. I've read the conversation. This helps no one. This helps no one, right? This started in the ivory towers of academia and it's going to end in the streets. Don't look to academia. Don't look to organisations. Maintain your faith in this, that you will, as an individual, have to deal with people one-on-one, and that's the most important thing. You want to know how to do it properly? Come be a warrior teacher. I can't emphasise enough that we're now in a situation where if we're not careful, they're going to give it away. They'll give it away. Got to keep an eye, okay? That people don't give it away. It ends. All of it. All of it. I don't want the word gender identity mentioned in a school. I don't want the word gender identity mentioned in the NHS. Likewise, the word trans or transgender or cis or any of the language that is used by this cult. None of it. So, then we got Starmer. This week, further progress was made. Starmer on the ropes now as a result of dogged campaigning by feminists, including MP Rosie Duffield, admitted that Duffield had been right to say that only women have a cervix. This is surreal. It's like the entire middle class, right? Or, the upper middle class. It's like the entire lot of them, right? Who are always responsible for this kind of nonsense. The entire lot of them, even when it's happening in the public square, are slightly pissed. Right? That they're, half the way through the Chablis or the Sauvignon Blanc, right, with, sort of light shaving of a goat's cheese that has been dusted by the feathers of a phoenix at the table. And they brought that behaviour out from, their shuttered and gated communities. They brought that behaviour into the public square and they're just carrying on talking nonsense. What? During the long period in which Duffield was deemed to be wrong about this, she was bullied, defamed, threatened and ostracised from the party. What's Starmer doing? Fanning about. Ever since that, she first spoke out in favour of women's sex-based rights and single-sex spaces, Duffield did so as a dogmatic abuse survivor who had bravely discussed her experience in Parliament. Starmer had offered Duffield absolutely no support. Duffield must have been through hell in those years, yet Starmer repeatedly refused to listen to this voice of reason or meet with her. Instead, he sacrificed this brave, righteous public servant to a mob of blue-fringed lunatics insisting that gender identity trumps sex. Bob on, Julie! Spot on, right? The hell's wrong with the left? Now that Rome is burning, the Labour Party leader fiddles. I don't want that image in my head. I'm not thinking violins, violas, or any other variation thereof of stringed instruments. In deciding to edge himself back to reality, he appears to be deluding himself that none of us will notice the sly shift. There's been no sly shift. I'm sorry, I know, Judy, great supporter of women's rights, feminist. Lots of people like Judy working in this particular sphere, but lean to the left politically. You are absolutely falling for it. You're absolutely falling for it. The manky left. Though they're nutters. Speaking this week, Starmer claimed to have a good relationship with Rosie Duffield and was quickly contradicted by the MP. What a slippery piece of work he is. The true issue, however, is how certain sections of the left became so enthralled to gender ideology that they were willing to throw science, logic, common sense, and any sense of duty out of the window. Somebody had to say it. Well done, Judy. Absolutely brilliant. As a lifelong Labour voter, I'm deeply critical of many of the Tory policies relating to women and equality, but odd outliers such as Penny Mordaunt aside, they have been much more sensible on this issue and have shown the Labour Party to be posturing idiots. What are you going to do then? Still vote Labour? Come on, Julie. Is that what you're going to do? This is the problem. This is the problem you've got. This is what you're stuck with, isn't it? A director of public prosecutions between 2008 and 2013, Starmer knew what a woman was. In 2014, he spoke at an event Judy helped organise, on the lack of prosecutions in the UK for female genital mutilation. Well, there'd be a lot more if we class trans as that, which is what it is, by the way. And it was clear he understood exactly what this terrible crime was about. Not only did he understand FGM as a crime, he was firmly committed to combating it. Is there anybody who isn't? And if so, who are they? He used to understand male violence towards women and girls. Back in the 1990s, when he was practicing barrister, he represented Emma Humphreys, one of the women I campaigned on behalf of, who had been prostituted in her childhood and ended up in prison for killing her violent pimp. Yet this week, Starmer declined to apologise to Duffield, claiming that the pair still get on well. I suppose we shouldn't be surprised. After the U-turn comes the denial that it ever happened. And Duffield, like so many other women who have spoken out against this outrageous attack on our rights and dignity, is left on her own. It's a terrible thing that Rosie should be treated in such a way. But my take is this is indicative of the left. And there will be many who will bleat at me, no, the left will. I don't see it. Don't see it. If it was the right doing this, I'd be criticising them, by the way. So don't think for 1 minute this is because I'm some raging Tory. I'm not. Right? So if you want to change this, you're going to have to swallow the pill. Because the vote is being split now between Reform and Tory, and Labour are well ahead in the polls. We're going to end up with a Labour government. And you think things are bad now? You wait. Because they're going to do certain things that are going to really cause us problems, not least of all being what we know about gender. That's just the tip of the iceberg. They're going to make Islamophobia a thing, and they are going to protect a religion in a way that no religion is ever protected. That's what they're going to do. Then you watch the floodgates open. You think it's bad now? Ladies and germs, you have no idea. I'll see you later.